Do you hate having that happen? Well, today I'm going to show you an extremely powerful trick to virtually eliminate your sprain risk. Just a couple of notes before we get started. I'm recording this video in one take so that you can see exactly how many sprains I get. So let's go ahead and get into the first example here, which is the Lake Overlook cave. Going up there from Mystery Lake. I'll show you a few of these more normal routes, and then we'll do a couple of mountain goating routes. Now, there are two primary misconceptions that players have about how sprains work. One is that when you see the sprain indicator pop up, which it will do in a minute down here, that means that you actually have a chance to get a sprain, which is not entirely true. So there it came up, and there it went away. I could walk over that 1,000 times, and I would never get a sprain. And the other misconception that players have is that crouching will always decrease your risk of sprains, or I should say, decrease your chance to get a sprain. And there's probably an implicit assumption that running will increase your risk. But neither of those are really true, and it's because when that sprain indicator pops up, there's actually a very generous grace period. So you can see on my way up here, I'm actually sticking to the low ground rather than going up there where I would be on that red sprain indicator for a long time because of the steep slopes up there. So I'm going to stick to the low ground here. And we'll get the sprain indicator from time to time, but I don't know exactly how long. It's something like a 10-second period. So you actually have to stay on a steep slope for a long time before you have any chance at all to actually get a sprain. And that's probably extended if you have crampons. All the things that I'll be doing in this video will be without crampons. So you see there, we just stay on the low ground all the way over here. And then when you see this big steep hill, this is where you start to head up. And this will be a usual tactic for me when I'm trying to get up to the high ground, is if you see two high points like this, you go for the low point in the middle of them, and then you won't have to cover as much ground. So here you can see we have a sprain risk, but it will go away long before there's any chance to actually get a sprain. And here we are up at the Lake Overlook cave. All right, let's go look at another example. So next we're going to look at the shortcut up to Signal Hill. So here we are, the farmhouse is back behind us there. We're across the road from that. And here's the rope climb up, and there's Signal Hill up there. And this slope here is a somewhat common route that people will take up to kind of skip that rope climb. So I'm going to head over here to this rock, and now we're going to make full use of the sprain grace period. So I can get up here onto this flat rock, and I have no sprain risk. And we're going straight up there, and just around the corner there's another flat spot. Now this is a long way to cover. But due to the way they coded this, it's the amount of time you spend. So by sprinting the entire way, I should be able to just make it before there's a chance to have a sprain. So we'll see how this goes. Now, I've worked out that it's about 3/4 of your sprint bar is the amount of time you have before there's a chance to get a sprain. You can see I made it well before we spent 3/4, and there's a nice flat spot to stand here. And then we could continue on our way. Now, it's even easier to go down a hill like this. On steeper hills, you have to run at a little bit of an angle, but you're so fast going down hills that you can easily make it. So I'll just pass time to get my stamina back, and we'll show this off one more time, just to show that there really is zero chance.
Cold is making my head feel thick.
Now, if you have to go a longer distance than this, or if you're slowed down by the wind, or if you mess it up like that, then there may be a slight chance that you get a sprain at the very top. Now, what I was trying to say before is if this was a steeper hill, there'd be a chance to like launch myself off of it. So in a case like that, you just have to run at a slight angle. And we may see an example of that later on. All right, now let's do some mountain goating routes. So one of the common places that people get sprains is at Homesteaders. This is the shortcut. Homesteaders is up there. The fishing hut, the destroyed hut, you might be able to see it right through there. You come and you find this long swale that goes all the way up to, I think that's the fire overlook that's up there. And the way this route works is you kind of walk as far up there as you can, and then you mountain goat across the rock face there. Now this is probably the hardest one to do without a sprain, so I'm going to try to find the right spot to stand. There's a few spots you can stand in here that have no sprain risk. Here's one. And there might be another one. Yeah, so here there's a spot. It's kind of hard to find. But anyway, you get up here about as far as you can with no sprain risk. And then you have to run up the slope just the right amount and across. And there's a chance that I'll get a sprain here because I might not execute it properly. You have to run about this far up and then across. And then across and across. And you have to do this without slowing down. And you can see we didn't even use 3/4 of our bar there. So once you get up here, there's a lot of flat spots to stand. So you shouldn't run into any issues. You can even just walk this because there's a spot right here where your sprain risk will clear. And as soon as you clear it, you have the full, I think it's like 10 seconds after that, where there's no chance to get a sprain. So you can just walk over here, and then we can walk this. Now you don't have to run here, but I like to run the last little bit, so you get a little bit of a running jump onto this. And here we are up at Homesteaders. Now one advantage of this is if you were coming here with full energy, then you'd be able to go ahead and climb this rope because you have no sprains. This trick isn't nearly as important if you are planning to sleep here anyway, because you can just get as many sprains as you want, and then you can just pop into Homesteaders and sleep them off before you climb this rope. Alright, let's go to our final example, which is going to be descending from the summit. This is a pretty popular way to get down from the summit of Timberwolf. Now, unlike the other routes, I have not practiced this. So I've done this a few times in the past, although it's been a long time. But there's a lot of ways to get down here. And I'm just going to show you kind of doing it freeform. So we are actually on sprain risk right now, so I need to clear that. There we go. And the trick that I kind of use is to stick to the right. So here's a spot that's flat. Once you get down here, you kind of go... Let me get onto this flat ground again. You kind of go off to the right. This is not a good place to stand because I'm getting so much risk here. Let's just run down here. There's a flat spot. Once you get down there, you bear right because you don't want to end up down in the ravine area. Anyway, you have a lot of options along here for flat places to stand. And now, I think I'm just going to run this part. And let's go all the way down here. And I don't remember, it might be better to go further over to the right here. Let's go down here. Now we didn't clear our risk there, so I'm going to run, oop, that's what can happen. So there we got a sprain because that was so steep that I actually ran off the edge and we took a fall. So that's where you want to run at an angle. If I had turned a little bit to the right, I could have like stuck to the wall, sticking at an angle. So there you go. I did get a sprain. This won't 100% clear you, and this is another thing that can happen if you're trying to goat down on a route that you don't know, is you could end up in a tough spot like this where you have a huge drop below you. So I think I can probably stick to the wall here, and then we can run over here and get down this way. And then I'm just going to run. Oh, I can't run anymore because of my exhaustion. But here we are. We're down to flat ground. And I think I'll carry on just a little bit because we're on the upper tier here near the engine. And so I think the best way to get down from here, there's a cave over there. So we probably want to mountain goat down kind of along the side over there. So I'm going to walk over there. This is just something that you learn from experience. It's easier to mountain goat along there than it is along that side. So that's why I'm going to walk around to the other side of this rope climb. There's no rope there.
Starting to feel numb.
It's a lot slower when you can't run every once in a while. And then we should be able to find a route along here. I'm at slightly more risk of a sprain simply because... Oh yeah, that's extremely easy to get down. Simply because I can't run. Like here I would probably run a little bit to get to this flat ground here. And there's the cave right over there. So we could either rest up there or there's a route down to the river there and we could just go back to Mountaineer's Hut. Alright, that's going to do it for me today. We did get one sprain there, but that was avoidable. With more practice, you'll get fewer and fewer sprains, and even just knowing when there's a chance for a sprain is a really nice thing, because then you don't get the jump scare. Because you know if you've been on a slope for a long time, okay, now there's actually a chance to get a sprain, and you can sort of mentally prepare yourself for it. Alright, well I hope you found that useful. Thanks for watching.